My name is Steve Megatron, and I am the geekiest man alive. To the outside world, I'm an ordinary rental manager, but secretly, with the help of my friends at GCRN Studios, I review media and find other altered geeks like me. I hunted the information on my past, but in doing so, I opened up a whole new world of possibilities. And I am the only one geeky enough to unleash them. I am the Altered Geek.
You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited, episode 128. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me in this episode will be actually TFG1 Mike and Doug Abel from Talking About My Generation. And the significance of this is we're going to be talking about a topic that was brought up about geeks more or less pissing and moaning about everything in a segment coming up, as well as the Altered Geek News Network, still trying to stomach that long name, so I'm going to probably call it AGNN, which later Blanchard calls like a Street Fighter move. So there's going to be a lot of topics, a lot of movie stuff kind of brought up, a lot of TV series stuff about reboots, stuff about sequels. So yeah, check in to this episode. I planned on doing some other segments, but unfortunately due to time, I really didn't have it this week, and I was running into technical difficulties prior to the episode record, because now that my desk is set up, my Wi-Fi, I have to have Wi-Fi now because for some reason I can't get the Ethernet to function over on that wall, or the router. I think there's like a power shortage in my electrical outlet, and I'm not really sure why. So like half my USB items kind of work intermittently, so I gotta get that figured out. But in the meantime, the gist of this whole conversation is, I planned on doing some other like short segments and short reviews and some short like little segmented clips, and it just didn't work out this week because of that. I spent about an hour messing with technical difficulties between the router and trying to get the cords plugged in and trying to get everything set up and then trying the Wi-Fi, and then finally got it all working somehow through osmosis. I don't know. So yeah, that's what's been going on. So until the next clip, I'll see you in a bit.
Sprint Hunter Steve's Facebook post on our new network.
I have tickets to the show. Anybody wants them? Message me.
I'll take them.
I said to message me, not post it in the comments. I disregard your request.
Come on, man.
No, follow private message procedures. You went rogue, now look at us. Having it out in the comment section.
Dude, you've turned into a monster.
You made me this way.
Why is it that we can't talk about stuff that we hate? So, alright, here's the thing. A couple weeks ago, was it on episode 125, I think? Yeah. Yep. Episode 125 of AGU, one of our listeners, Peter Faith, commented and basically said, his comment added up to why do geeks feel the need to talk about stuff they hate or whatever else.
Which Mike thought was an interesting topic.
Well, here's the thing. Like, for me, I'm pretty much, I don't put a lot of detail into it. I just say that, I basically just say on the surface that after I've seen something or after I've heard something, I don't like it. I know some people that run a podcast that they review bad movies, and they go into great. No. I'm telling you, if you listen to this podcast, you will really respect these two guys and really, really like. That's all they do is review movies that they believe are bad. And
yeah, but
these
that's
guys
the premise of that.
Yeah, but that's the premise of that show, and I understand that. But I'm just saying, it's like, so basically, after reading Peter Faith's comments on 125,
basically,
I'm like,
what the quote says, and this is just cliff notes of a part of this the paragraph
conversation.
He says, geeks really blow my mind sometimes. They're the only group I can think of that actively and regularly have to talk about things that they aren't going to do or tell people they aren't interested in something.
Oh. Okay, and my counterpoint to that is, and this is the reason why I wanted to do this whole thing, was because why do I have to like or enjoy something that everybody else is enjoying? If I don't, why do I have to jump on the bandwagon and immediately absolutely love something? Now, do I have things that I immediately and absolutely love? Sure, that other people don't or won't. That's fine. But I'm not going to sit here and be, a zombified troll and jump onto what everyone else enjoys.
Well, and to be fair on that too, I've seen. I remember in high school, and again, this is going back 20 plus years. We had a guy who he wrote into our newspaper, our school newspaper, and wrote a scathing article about how he thought it really sucked that our school put all this money into our performing arts. We had a huge theater. I mean, it was state of the art for what it was in '95. We had a huge band. We had, we had choir teams. We had choir that won awards consistently. And then we had our football team. And his thought was, well, we don't need the Performing Arts Center. Get rid of that. Give us a bigger gym and give us a pool and give us stuff that the jocks need. We need a bigger weight room. We need better weights. Okay, I'm sorry. You guys are complaining right there. You don't want to have anything to do with things that other people are interested in, so you're talking bad about all the stuff that everybody else is interested in because you want something for you. How is this different? Really? I'm sorry to say that.
And I've done the bandwagon thing several times. Of course, I've done it, after the fact of a few things. One of them being, and Steve knows this, and he knows where I'm probably going to go with this, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Everybody under the sun absolutely loved Breaking Bad. I avoided it. Wanted to wait until the hype died down. Wanted to wait until the entire world was done with it. I started marathoning Breaking Bad in between the end of the 5th season and the beginning, the end of the 4th season, beginning of the 5th season, because there is no season 6, and there won't be a season 6, people. I watched maybe the first season in a day and a half, watched the second season in maybe within the span of 2.5 months, I watched the whole show. And the whole time I'm like, why am I still watching this? This is not enjoyable to me. Yes, the characters were very well written, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm so used to network shows, and that was the first kind of AMC show that I watched, and the AMC shows drag on and on and on, and everybody's like, oh, well, don't you want the show to last forever? Don't you want the storytelling to be good? I'm like, yeah, sure I do, but I want it to go at a faster pace. I mean, season 2 of Breaking Bad, with the whole plane crash thing starting, and then we finally figure out by the end of the second season what the hell that was. That took forever. I'm like, I want answers now. And I went through Breaking Bad, and at the end of it, I'm like, I'm never watching this show again. I just didn't care for it. It wasn't my thing. Do I sit here online or on podcasts or whatever, constantly bringing it up? I might bring it up in passing or a joke, but I'm not going to sit here and bitch about it all the time. Everybody's into Walking Dead and Game of Thrones and all that. Game of Thrones, I don't have an opinion either way, because I'm not going to sit here. I can't sit here and afford to pay for HBO, so that immediately anything that's on HBO that isn't already on DVD, just immediately I'll skip. But it's like, why is it that every single geek has to like what every other single geek has to like? That's my question to Peter, is why do you feel that all geeks need to like all the same things? Because that's just going to make us autonomous robots,
Yeah. Peter, I have to ask, have you ever been to a comic convention? Have you ever been to BotCon? Have you ever been to SDCC? Have you ever been to, WonderCon? I don't know. I mean, Wizard World. I'm picking stuff out here. If you go out there, you'll see a plethora of geeks, and we're all interested in something different.
Mm-hmm.
You have the kids, and you have the diehard fanboys that are interested in Phineas and Ferb, and then you have the people who are Marvel versus DC, and then you have the people who are in the Image. It's all, we all get along really well, but you're making it out to seem like we all have to like the same thing, and if we don't, well, now it's a bad thing. How is that wrong?
I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this, Steve?
Well, and I don't totally disagree with his statement, because as geeks, we do tend to fly off the handles quite frequently on things that we don't necessarily. I'm not saying that we, have to like whatever it is, or people don't have to like it or whatever. It's basically our opinion. Everybody has one. It's the common thing of the internet. The internet's full of opinions, and it's one of those things that the internet has kind of brought out more of, is everybody's opinions, because everybody can be heard now, which can be good and can be bad, as we've seen. I like to think of us, at least, as the people that, we may piss and moan about something, but it's not like we're not gonna, we may complain, like, especially you might complain about the Batman v Superman thing.
Hey, that's been going on for 3 years.
I said, you bag on that, and then you bag on Green Lantern and Ryan Reynolds and everything else. I'm not saying there aren't things I don't do that too, but same token, it's not like you won't eventually see it anyway.
Yeah, I'll see the movie, and I've seen Green Lantern multiple times, sadly. The only reason why, outside of not counting writing or acting or anything else, the only reason why I can't stand Green Lantern is because it essentially killed the animated series on Cartoon Network, because because of toys and all that other stuff. It didn't kill
it. Cartoon Network was going to... It has, if you've noticed, they did that to Young Justice as well. So, I mean, you can't blame the film for how bad the show did on Cartoon Network when Cartoon Network stabs the shows themselves.
But the shows are also reliant on the toy.
It is, but it's not.
And all that.
If these shows were on a different network other than Cartoon Network, they would have thrived. It's the fact that Cartoon Network does the, all right, we'll give prime time to the first season, second season, we'll throw it on the back burner wherever it happens to fall, and the show dies, and they're like, well, nobody was watching it. Well, you put it on the wrong time. So it's one of those scenarios. So you can't blame the film for that, because they're doing it with a lot of other shows. They did it to Thundercats. They did it to, Young Justice. They did it to Beware the Bat.
Beware the Batman. That's what it was.
So I mean, it's a common trend with Cartoon Network. They're show killers if it's not something stupid and asinine. But I like to think that we may complain about some of the things. Like, I personally, I have no opinion of the Super Bowl. Like, I don't have anything against it. I just don't personally care for it. It's not my thing. I don't watch football. I don't watch sports in general, as I mentioned in the show we did with
Sports Gal Pal.
Yeah, the Sports Gal Pal. And so, I mean, I watched the Super Bowl trailers and commercials like the day after, because, now that the internet collects all these for us, it's a lot easier to go back and watch them after the fact. But, I'm not going to sit there and subject myself to something I don't care about. But that being said, not everybody has to like the same thing, and that's kind of the beauty of the plethora of content we have available to us.
Well, it's like Mike. I mean, if it was back in '95, I'm going to use that as an example. And you've got the Chargers playing against San Francisco 49ers. Your team is out. The Patriots are out. Are you still going to watch Super Bowl? Or not?
No.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Not with those teams. The only time that I watched the Super Bowl that I even cared about it, when it wasn't even the Patriots, was the years that it was Dallas in charge, when Dallas was actually still good. When they had Aikman and Smith and all those guys.
Right.
But nowadays, if the Patriots aren't in it, I have no stake in it. And like Steve already said, nowadays, you don't even have to wait till the next day. You can wait till, well, let's say, for example, the TMNT 2 Out of the Shadows trailer premieres on TV in the first quarter. By the end of the game, you can see it online that night. I mean, that's how fast the internet is these days.
It's that's the thing, is that if you're not interested in the teams that are playing, why would you watch it? And I hear so many people, especially Super Bowl, that said, I don't really care. I'm not going to be watching it. My team's not in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how is that different from the geeks who are complaining about, Batman versus Superman, or, Avengers, that they don't have the right Avengers in there, or, we're all passionate about something. We're all saying that we could care less about who is in this or who is in that, or, I don't have any interest in this because, Joss Whedon's no longer directing the Avengers. Okay, so what? That's us voicing our opinions.
For me to put time and effort into something like a podcast or whatever it is, whether it's a single episode or whether it's a podcast that goes on for 1 or 2 years, I have to actually be, I've had to enjoy the content beforehand. I will not do a podcast because I can't stand something. Because most of my quote-unquote hater opinions is, like I said, just one note off the top of my head, kind of, I can't stand this. That you take the BS that is BVS. It's not even it has nothing to do with the movie. I don't even know what the plot of the movie is going to be, other than the fact that it's going to be the two of them fighting, and there's going to be Wonder Woman, and there's going to be all these other heroes supposedly show up. It has nothing to do with that. My hatred of the film is more so of the 3-year marketing crap that they've put to.
Yeah, but that's any film now. Like any film, they're doing this, and anything that's going to be a huge blockbuster, or that they're trying to make a huge blockbuster. Take Star Wars, take Deadpool, take Captain America: Civil War.
Star Wars did not have a 3-year media campaign.
But it doesn't necessarily have to. Like, that's just the way that Warner Brothers did it, because they were trying to build the hype for it little by little. It's just, some people it turned off and some people it didn't. But I find that, technically this conversation would be considered the same thing he's talking about, of talking about what we don't like and what we do. But I feel sometimes it is relevant to bring it up, even if it's not. I mean, I don't think that it should be harped on consistently long, like we are.
And I haven't.
But I also think that we tend to drudge up the past, like especially if it's like a reboot and sequel or that kind of thing. Like, take, for instance, right now, people are either loving or hating the current Ghostbusters movie that's coming out this year. Just based on the trailer and what we've seen.
The new trailer dropped before this episode of the show came out, and I saw it. I like everything in it except the actors. Well, they can get 4 other different women.
The thing is I don't think it would successfully be translatable if it didn't have these people, because just like the original Ghostbusters, they all came from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
but Saturday Night Live hasn't been good in 20 years.
I'll agree to disagree there, but it's gotten better within recent years. I will agree that some of the shows have not been that great.
Yeah.
But
the only thing I said when the Ghostbusters trailer hit online was, I like the way the ghosts look. I like all the effects. Yeah, sure, the new Ecto 1 is a hearse, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
The rest of it, meh. It's not. It never was going to be a movie that I would see in theaters. I mean, I was too young to see the first 2 in theaters either way, but it's just one of those things where I'll see the Ghostbusters film when it hits Netflix or Redbox, or it just did not knock my socks off. Like, you take like I already said, TMNT 2, I'll go see that in a heartbeat. But I don't know. It's just something with that comedy with Ghostbusters. I just don't.
Well, and that's the thing with Ghostbusters. I love it. I will probably go see it, but as you said, Mike, it's if it was different actors, okay, wouldn't bother me at all. And I think that's what we're trying to get to, is that we all have our own opinions on this stuff. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to bitch at you because you don't like that. I'm not going to complain to you that, oh my gosh, you don't like Ghostbusters, and I'm not going to have this full-on hatred with you that some people do. It's just not worth it. Yes, we're passionate. Yes, we have fun with it. And sometimes we just joke about stuff. I mean, I bring up every once in a while you and Scrappy Doo and how great he is, and how you have that hatred for Snow White, and I kind of like Snow White for what it is, but that's me. And
I mean, and I've already laid out my opinions on both of those things, and when I did hate on Snow White, I laid out in that episode of Tooncast Classic, I laid out specific examples at the time of why that movie is so bad.
Right.
One of them being there, outside of the Evil Queen, there are no other adults in that film. But that's, people can go back and listen to that and hear that from a few years ago. Do I bring critical thinking to stuff that I hate? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just depends on what it is, and it depends on where my brain is.
Yeah. Like I said, when I bring that sort of stuff up, it's more for good-natured ribbing. I know it's not going to offend you terribly. It's going to be like, hey, you still like Scrappy Doo, that sort of thing. That's all that is.
It's not like we're trying to pull out of our rear ends the amount of stuff that, like, say, a CinemaSins would.
Yeah.
Where they're being overly critical about stuff and bringing up what they didn't like and what they thought was dumb or what they thought take place.
I mean, there are times where I am overly critical of something. There are times where I will pick out every single nitpick I can find, because I do actively, it doesn't matter what I'm watching for Tooncast or for MWire, for whatever show, even with Comics with the Pull Bag, I will look for... it's more specific to movies and cartoons. I will look for any little thing that's going to just make me turn my brain off and say, nope, I'm done with the show. It depends on what the show is, or it depends on what the movie is, but, I still try to at least bring a few opinions that are critically thought out instead of just saying, oh, I can't stand this. And that's one of the reasons why I said I won't do something. I won't be on a podcast. Like, there have been times where you, Steve, have had topics that just didn't interest me, so I wasn't on the show. Or Doug, there was a couple of times where you were going to talk about, I don't know what you were going to talk about My Generation. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll skip that week, because I either don't have anything to contribute to it or I just don't care to talk about it. So for me, it's not like I'm going to be on every single episode of every single show ever and consistently complain about something. And again, like Doug said, and like I've said, if everybody liked the same thing, we'd all be robots.
But I also think that I do, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I do think that sometimes we as geeks do tend to fly off the handle and talk about something, how much we dislike something so much. Yeah. Not every one of us do it, but I mean, and there are certain topics that each one of us does talk about something we can't stand. Like, I, for instance, and my wife does this to irritate me, but the word selfie makes me want to choke someone because I just find it ignorant and lazy.
How about selfie stick?
That she thought as a gag she was going to buy me one for Christmas, and I told her, I says, if you want to get hit with it, I says, go for it. And she didn't get it. So, and then and then in forethought, I'm like, yeah, that would have been nice for like conventions, like holding it out, like having my phone out. But
yeah, except they've been banned from most conventions now. So
yeah, probably because everybody's smacking each other with it, not paying attention to where they're going.
Exactly.
That's why you get one that mounts to your forehead. You're gonna start seeing that probably. They're gonna have headband.
Oh,
It's already
headband,
happening. It's already happening.
and it's like a GoPro, but they strap their phone to their forehead. So, but yeah, I mean, it's I mean, I can kind of see the fact that we as geeks do complain about a lot of things, and especially when we're filled with nostalgia, that tends to be one of the major fuel points.
And see, like for me with the Ghostbusters thing, it isn't even nostalgia. It isn't that I want male actors in there. It isn't anything like that. Like I've already said.
And it could even be that you don't like Paul Feig's movies, which could be why you're not liking what you're seeing so far, or it could just be a bad cut of the trailer.
What else has he done? I don't even know.
He's done like Bridesmaids, and he's done a lot of Melissa
That
McCarthy
explains it.
movies.
A lot of Melissa McCarthy movies. Yeah, I don't like her, so that's one of the reasons why I haven't seen any of his other movies.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, and I'm looking him up right now. He did do Spy. He's actually from Mount Clemens, Michigan. That's funny. He did Spy, which is Melissa McCarthy, but it's got Jason Statham in it. So it's actually really funny because it makes fun of Jason Statham movies. He did The Heat, which was another Melissa McCarthy movie. He did or wait, no, I'm looking under actor. What did he direct? Yeah, he's directing The Heat 2. He did Spy. He did the first Heat. He did Bridesmaids. He did a lot of episodes of television shows. Unaccompanied Minors was a film, and then he's done a lot of other like TV shows, like comedy shows for the most part. But he, for the most part, in recent years, has written Melissa McCarthy movies.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with him. The reason why it's her. I can't stand her as an actress.
The other three are from Saturday Night Live, which is no different than than the original Ghostbuster movies. There were three of them from Saturday Night Live. So
yeah. But Peter, thank you so much for the comment. It gave us I think a really good discussion here on Altered Geek 128.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can email us feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @alteredgeek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show. You're listening to the Altered Geek News Network.
Sounds like something from Street Fighter.
Hadouken! Welcome back to the Altered Geek News Network, also known as AGNN. I'm Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me again is Mike TFG1 Blanchard and Doug Abel.
Hello.
Hola.
So I was gonna do this part solo, and then I changed my mind because partially I'm lazy and partially because we're
already here.
Well, that and we have again a new voice to the show, so I figured why not. And since we're already on the reboot bandwagon, I figured this would be funny enough to bring up the first look at the Power Rangers new team. I don't know if anybody saw that photo.
Mm-hmm. I saw it like as a small picture on my phone earlier today, and I just kind of went, let me see how Rita Repulsa looks.
Yeah, that's what I'm really curious about, actually.
See, my only hesitation, and I know they won't do this because it's a live-action thing. It's not for TV. It's a live-action film. My only hesitation when it comes to Rita is it's not going to be Barbara Goodson's voice. That's the only... I don't even care what the actress looks like in the suit. I mean, I care, but I don't care that much because, let's face it, the whole point and the whole thing with Rita was Barbara Goodson as the voice. Yeah, I saw the picture. looks like a It looks like the Power Rangers team. I think it was Comics Alliance that posted something on Twitter about it, where they said, "Oh, hey, here's the plot. Here's the synopsis for the Power Rangers movie. It's kind of, familiar, don't you think?" Well, of course it's going to be familiar. I mean, there's not, since they're wanting to basically quote unquote reboot the original team and the original whatever. Of course it's going to be about 5 teenagers with attitude who come together and, become multicolored and go after a evil empress. I mean, what were they expecting? Were they expecting, for them to combine like Dino Thunder with RPM and Jungle Fury? I mean, come on now. Of course they're going to go back to the original because they're going to want to prey, or not prey, I shouldn't say that. They want to appeal to us who were the Power Rangers fans 20 some odd years ago. Until I see a trailer for Power Rangers, I have no opinion either way of the movie. The picture looks good.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to see more action. I want to see if we're going to get, putties. I want to see if we're going to get, the cheesy, and I use that very sparingly. The cheesy, Japanese robot transformation running through a big city. That's obviously a bunch of miniatures type of thing that we've had with previous movies.
Yeah. You can call what's his name, Bryan Cranston again. He's not doing anything now that Breaking Bad's dead. I mean, he could go back to his Power Rangers roots and become a villain again.
He could be in Total Recall too.
Are they?
Oh wait, I think
making
they
one?
killed him. No.
Oh,
okay.
I'm being facetious. Sorry.
Don't scare us like that, dude.
I'm
Holy
sorry.
crap. First time he's on the show, folks, he's already going to break our brains. Great.
He'll break your brain. He ain't breaking mine. Mine's under lock and key.
Right.
That's my kid's job to break it. So, yeah, I'm okay with it. Like they look, like teenagers. That probably aren't actually teenagers. So I'm in agreement though. I want to see Rita Repulsa show up. I want to see what she looks like in this new universe. I want to see Zordon too, and the power chamber.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the suits.
Yeah, even if the suits are a little different from what they are now, that's acceptable. How many times have we seen the suits change over the past 20 plus years?
Like 50 times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's been 23 seasons at this point total for the TV show, various incarnations of it. So there's been 23 different suits, and then even sometimes then within some of those seasons, the suits change to when they get like you go back to the original. They changed when they got the show when they got the Thunder Megazords a little bit. They changed when they got the Shogun stuff. They changed when Ninjor happened in the show. I would like to think that because it's a movie, they're gonna go more of the classic movie, like the more of the original 1995 kind of suit. Like it's not gonna be the TV spandex stuff. Like it's gonna be more of a armor kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to think that the new movie's gonna do.
What I hope that they don't do with the new movie is I hope that they don't if they do give them like a tighter spandex look, that they don't give them that new look that we're seeing with like the Amazing Spider-Man suit or with the Supergirl suit that we're seeing right now.
Oh, with the
it's like this weird textured jersey type material, and I don't like it. I'm sorry, that's me.
I do like it, but I think that they're overusing it.
Yeah,
I think that it was if they just left it unique to like say the Superman family-esque thing, and then just kind of left it at that. I think it would have been fine, but I think that because now it's on it's even on the bat suit. I mean, to an extent, it's a different texture, but it's the same principle.
Yeah.
With Supergirl, it's like she's got a leather skirt, a leather cape, and then a T-shirt on.
Yeah, it's not quite a T-shirt because that would be a little bit more showing.
Yeah.
But it's definitely very Man of Steel-esque.
Yeah.
I'd almost want them to do something like with the current Flash suit. Like that would be kind of cool for Power. Like that, just not obviously, but that material.
They
and
kind of
the way that
layered
they've-
different
Yeah.
fabric and leather
Yeah.
texture.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I could see that. Because I don't really want to see the spandex either, because I think that's kind of, I don't know. If they're
Yeah.
going for a more serious movie, they got to get away from the hokiness of the actual series.
Oh,
Yep.
see, that's one of the things that I like.
Well, they can
about
still.
it, you know?
I mean, obviously they got to keep the cheese in there. It's part of the show, but
you know,
You know.
do we know if they're going to have Bulk and Skull in there again?
that would be hopeful.
I don't know.
What, Jonah Hill and Michael Cera?
Don't even say that. What the hell is wrong with you? Oh my
you know,
God.
You don't want me to drop F-bombs. I'm sorry. That's something I almost did.
They should actually just bring back the original too.
Yeah.
Just
I
have
don't
them.
know
Just
if
have
they
them
will,
run the
though.
juice bar.
Yeah. I know Paul. I can never say his last name. Yeah, I know he and Jason Narvey came back for Samurai. Bulk ended up being bald.
Well, they were in
and-
Forever Red too.
Yeah, but that was. I'm saying more recently.
Oh, okay.
In the last few years, in the last few seasons, they came back in Samurai. Well,
I think they were even in Megaforce, weren't they? Briefly.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure they were when they had that crossover and had all the other Rangers show up.
Okay. I know that, we'll see, Bulk was mainly in Samurai because they got some other kid to be
His
Skull's son, so it ended up being Bulk's nephew. And then Skull came in at the end to pick him up, and come to find out, according to the continuity now on the TV show, Skull is super rich, and he's basically the Donald Trump of Power Rangers, without the opinions of Donald Trump.
and the bad hair.
Yeah, and the bad hair.
Now,
So-
we don't want to get into Donald Trump because
No,
apparently now on
no.
the Republican debate, they're comparing penis sizes. So
Oh God,
there will
no.
definitely be foul language that will come out of my mouth about this. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah.
So, I would like to see Jason and Paul come back. I don't know if they will. I'm really concerned I'm not like going to lose sleep over this, but I'm concerned about which Yellow Ranger they're going to use, because there were 3 different Yellow Rangers from the original
I
series.
think it's trainee.
I really hope it isn't. The only reason why I say that is because, out of respect for Thoy Trang, who passed away. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you see the cast there. That's what
Yeah.
their nationalities are. So that's going to be what they are.
Yeah.
So, unless they switch colors on them, which could happen. So you never know. I mean, the PC police might attack them.
You say switch colors, and I know this is going to be a very off-color joke when I say this. Make the Yellow Ranger black and make the Black Ranger yellow.
Well, I mean, that's why I said that the
Yeah.
PC police are going to come after them because either you're not keeping close to continuity or you're stereotyping them by the color of their suit. It's either way, you've got the PC police on your ass.
Yeah.
So,
well, I kind of want to bring up something here if you don't mind.
no, that's fine.
Did you guys see the articles on, I want to say it was IO9 or Gizmodo, about Danny Rand and who they cast for Iron Fist?
Yeah, that's why I said the PC police, because I saw that come out earlier this week too.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people who have been complaining both ways as to, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because everybody's saying, oh, well, they should have cast an Asian for that. Well, yeah, but that's not who it is in the comics. And then, if you do cast an Asian, well, now you have everybody going, well, the only reason they did that was because Asians are good at martial arts. So you've got that stereotype. How do you win?
Well, even though the character is supposed to be a rich, snobby white guy,
Right.
that's supposed to learn how to coexist with normal people and become a well-rounded person.
Yeah, it just wouldn't work otherwise. I'm sorry. I that's where I have a problem with it. Keep the story as it is.
I don't like. I've seen Iron Fist in like one incarnation, which is Superhero Squad show. It's the only thing I know about the character. So just like I've said before with Jessica Jones, I know nothing of the character. I will watch the show eventually when I don't have so much stuff to already watch that's more interesting to me. And I say that, and I don't mean that Jessica Jones is uninteresting. It's just so far on my back burner, I just don't even have time to even deal with it right now. Same thing with Iron Fist. I have zero interest. If I don't have any interest in the character, it's probably something I'm not going to watch. And like I've said before on the show, there are several, movie franchises that I will go see every movie for the most part, and then there are some where I can wait.
Like I tried watching a couple episodes of Jessica Jones. It wasn't my thing, so like I kind of dodged that one. Daredevil, I'm meaning to actually finish season 1 and then watch season 2 so that I can have a full, well-rounded opinion.
How far in season 1 are you?
I made it about 4 or 5 episodes when I stopped watching it a year ago. It was one of those points where I was watching a lot of other shows and it really wasn't grabbing me. And I never neglected the notice that it does have better production value than every other superhero show. Yeah. And better acting and writing to some degree, but it's still I don't care for the character, and I think that's most of what my problem is. I don't care for a lot of the Netflix Marvel shows because of the characters alone. But then again, I don't care for much of what Marvel has going on the TV side compared to their film side.
Yeah. This week would have been a perfect week for you to catch up on Daredevil because there's no Flash. Actually, this month. This would be a perfect month for you to catch up on Daredevil. But
half my other shows are coming back. Like I got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. I got Gotham, Once Upon a Time.
Blind Spot. I don't know if you guys watch that or not. Nope. I think it's great.
I need to catch up on it.
It's funny we're talking TV because next week I have my top 20 TV shows that I've been watching that are on my personal list from 2015 to 2016. That'll be out next Wednesday. Because I already did my top 25 film one after Kevin put out his massive top 100.
100.
And after watching the plethora of work that he put into copying and pasting, I went and found myself a plugin that ties into IMDb. And all I have to do is put the link to the IMDb location, and it fills everything in on its own. So I was quite pleased with myself after that, so I've been using it. That's neither here nor there. I digress.
Since
we're talking TV anyway, Netflix, how many of you guys have checked out Fuller House?
Funny you should mention that.
Because I know it got renewed for a second season.
Yes. Yep. My wife and I were actually watching it this just before we started recording, so
we've only made it 3 episodes in so far.
How far are you guys, Doug?
I've missed a couple of episodes, but I think we just watched episode 12. It was the episode. It was the episode where they had the Bollywood dancing in it, and that was yeah.
I watched it all the first day because I just wanted to know what it was. I basically started when I got up the day it released, which was the 26th. I got up at 7 a.m., 7:30, something like that, and by 1 o'clock I had the first 7 episodes watched, I think, or the first 7, and the rest of the afternoon I did the rest. I enjoy it. I think for me, in my opinion of it, it's that first episode is pure. It's all nostalgia. The whole thing to set up the new show. It's all nostalgia. By the 3rd and 4th episode, the show kind of comes into its own, and then by the 6th or 7th one, it eventually starts growing the characters, not just the adult characters, but the kid characters. And they don't someone's like, I forget who it was. It was either on Twitter or Facebook. Somebody asked me something about it. It's like, is it all just nostalgia? It might have been you, Doug. I don't remember. Is it all just nostalgia? Do all the old cast come back every episode?
I think it might.
They don't. They don't. They come back. There's a time or two where Danny comes back. There's a time or two when Jesse and Becky come back. There's a whole episode centered around Kimmy and her ex getting remarried or whatever else because they just got a divorce from each other and now they're falling back in love and getting remarried. So they basically piggyback onto Jesse and Becky renewing their vows. But it's not all nostalgia. I know, who was it?
I will say that some of the catchphrases have gotten a little overused, like "How rude" and "Oh my Lanta." But
how rude! I just when I saw the trailer and the first episode has this, it's the segment where Jesse's like, "You're forgetting two very important words," and Stephanie says, "How rude." No, Stephanie says, "Have mercy." And it's like, no, how rude. I just love it because we haven't used that stuff in years, obviously. Oh, yeah. And I think I said something on Twitter at the time because somebody no, I know what it was. It was Steve.
What?
Steve is you called me on the 26th in the morning. You called me and I answered the phone. I'm like, how rude.
And I said, you've been watching Full House, haven't you?
Yeah. And after we hung up, after our conversation, I sat there and said on Twitter, anyone that calls me today at all while I'm still watching Fuller House, I'm going to answer the phone. How rude. The show isn't as good as Girl Meets World, but it's done enough in the first season. The first season's only 13 episodes. It would be different if they tried to push like a 22 or a 23 or a 24 or 25 episode run on us. But since it's Netflix, since it's only 13 episodes, it's not that bad. I believe it was one of my friends through Facebook somewhere. I don't remember where I know Daniel from. It's not Proto Man. It's a different one. He said something about closure. This is Daniel Stransky. I'll go ahead and say his name. He said, next season I want closure. And I'm like, closure for what? Whether she's going to end up with Matt or Steve. And I'm like, dude, come on. That's
going to be the plot throughout the entire series. You're going to see that going back and forth.
See, I thought by the final episode, and this is spoilers, so sorry, Doug. By the final episode, basically the final episode is like the final episode of The Bachelor. Okay, instead of choosing one or the other, she basically chooses herself at that point. So she's not ready to date anybody. And I am sorry. I told my buddy Daniel, I said, I want to see her with Matt because I'm sorry, adult Steve, present company excluded, adult Steve is too damn creepy to me at this point.
Okay, thank you for saying that. I thought
he's extremely dated as a character.
Well, in the episode that I saw where they were doing like a whole date with Steve, and he comes back and he's wearing a wig and his old football jacket and just
that was funny. Kimmy says, "Oh, Steve came in and out of here. Steve loves DJ so much he didn't even notice the sandwich." Stephanie's like, 3, 2, 1. Is anybody going to use that sandwich? Use that How do you use a sandwich other than eating it? I mean, come on. Yeah. But it gets worse as it goes along because she's, I don't know. I don't want to get into it because it'd be a full-on review of the show. I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm interested to see what they do for a season 2. As long as they sprinkle in the old cast members here and there, and I'm not saying because I want to see the old cast members, I'm saying because I don't want the old cast members to basically run the show. As long as they sprinkle in the old with whatever new story they're going to tell, I am perfectly fine with whatever they're going to do for that show.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay. Like you said, bring in the old with a little bit. do like they're doing with Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World stuff. They have them show up here and there. Just don't kill us with showing them and focusing
fan
only on
service.
the older stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they will, because that's what the first episode is all about, is the fan service. And then, as I said, they sprinkle it throughout the rest of the show. I'm just wondering if the second season they'll finally get Michelle out there. I don't think so, but...
No. After the digs that they've taken at her, I don't think so at all.
Especially the looking at the screen and the... Oh, she's running her successful empire in New York.
Yep.
Her successful clothing empire, yeah.
And then they made another one when they're like, "Oh, a Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen dress." And no wonder they needed to quit. They quit acting. They're making so much money on the fashion or something. Or I don't remember what the actual joke was, but who knows?
Honestly, I think it's fine that they're not in it. I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't really care either. I just hope Jesse and Becky's sons don't come back.
Yeah, they were pretty awkward.
They were creepy as hell.
Is it the same actors?
Yeah, actually it is.
I thought so.
My wife
the same
looked it
kids?
up. It's the same
Really?
kids. My wife looked it up. She wanted to know.
I was curious enough to know, but I didn't want to look it up because I figured it was all right. That I just didn't want to confirm it because they were really bad. So I guess while we're moving on that train of things that are being rebooted, the new Star Trek series that's coming in 2017 that we've already reported on before, not only has it chose Brian Fuller as the showrunner, but now they have the Wrath of Khan and Undiscovered Country writer-director of Nicholas Meyer added to the list.
Oh, well, at least it's not Ortsy and Kurtzman.
He is the reason that we have the red uniforms in the more military Star Trek that was in movies 2 through 7. Was because of what he did in Wrath of Khan. Mm-hmm. And then they, of course, the movies, Star Trek 5 did so bad because Shatner wrote it and directed it, that they had to bring back Nicholas Meyer in 6 to give it a nice send-off. Mm-hmm. Because he already had familiarity with that franchise. But they've also added Gene Roddenberry's son.
Really?
Yeah, that came in today. He's a producer on the show alongside Alex Kurtzman, Heather Caden, and Brian Fuller. Which, I think, Brian Fuller, I'm not... Most of his shows either get canceled. Not that they aren't good, but they get canceled typically. But he was a part of the DS9 or Voyager and Enterprise era of Star Trek, which granted isn't the best eras of it, but still he was a part of that era, so he's got a little bit of that with him. And then you've got the older generation of Nicholas Meyer, and then you've got Kurtzman, who's done the reboot, and then you've got Roddenberry's son, who's been there through the entire travel of the franchise. So I think we've got a pretty solid producer set and showrunner set now that I'm not as worried about it as what I was, because Roddenberry even said in the quote, moral dilemmas, human issues, complex characters, and a genuine sense of optimism. These are the cornerstones of Star Trek and are what have made it such an influential and beloved franchise for the last 50 years, which is what they're basically trying to bring back to the show.
Yeah. He also did stuff like Dead Like Me, and
that's what I'm saying. I enjoyed Dead Like Me, and I enjoyed Pushing Daisies and those, but again, they got canceled in the second season.
Yeah.
And he wrote 4 episodes of your favorite show.
Supernatural?
Heroes.
Oh.
No, Heroes.
Well, Heroes wasn't my favorite show.
That's
one of the shows that should have died after season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, season 1 was great, and then
it train wrecked. I will say Heroes Reborn was actually halfway decent because they did have sprinkled in characters from the old, but they weren't blatantly used. It was still focused on the new characters.
Spock's too busy getting paid, so sadly he couldn't come back.
Yeah.
Which one?
The one that's not dead.
I know. I know. I was just throwing that bad joke in there. That's part of the bad cameos role. Future Spock. Remember that Twitter handle?
No Future Spock. Future Spock is dead.
I still have the audio clips from that.
I know.
That segment.
God.
Future Spock. I took everything from the movies, and I took everything from that commercial with him and Zachary Quinto and the Big Bang Theory episode.
God.
And then I randomly put quotes from that character online.
I know Quinto. I believe his sexual orientation skews to the other side there, but I still love that line from Sheldon when he gets the standee. Oh no, they sent the wrong Spock. Live long and suck it, Zachary Quinto.
Oh, that was wrong. But yes, that was funny.
Hey, Sheldon said it. I
know.
It's all Sheldon.
Fine. I will use the teleporter. Oh, right. You broke it.
Yep.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response. I'm reading off the Future Spock Twitter handle.
Yeah. No, when Nimoy was still alive and they had him do guest spots on The Big Bang Theory, that was just awesome. Especially the toy episode where he was the voice of the Spock toy. That was so cool.
Yeah, they get a lot of geek culture people on there, so that's actually nice.
Yeah, they've had, you think about it, they've had Wozniak, they've had Elon Musk, they've had Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah.
Stephen Hawking, LeVar Burton, Brent Spiner, Will Wheaton is a constant.
Yeah.
They've had
I think LeVar's was what was the funniest quote unquote cameo,
because he walked in on them doing like Dance Dance Revolution or something like that.
Yeah, it's like never respond to something on Twitter. No more Twitter for me. I thought that was hilarious. I think the one cameo that really gave Sheldon his comeuppance when it came to celebrities that he loves was when James Earl Jones was there. He's like, "You like Star Wars?
I like Star Wars too.
I like it too." Yeah, it was like just that
and
whole
then he's
thing.
Like, "Let's go bother Carrie Fisher."
Yeah.
He really is a nice guy. He really is somebody you can hang out with.
Yeah.
I would just have him do Darth Vader voices for me all the time, and then record them and put them on my show.
See, I would be forced to ask him to read out tweets and Facebook posts.
As Darth Vader.
Well, no, like they did in the Sprint commercials with him and
McDowell.
Yes.
Oh,
Malcolm McDowell's great.
Get out of my head, dude. I was just going to bring that up because that's the one. No, seriously, that's the one. Steve's Facebook posts. And you got to put that in here. I gotta see if I grab that. Yeah, you got to put that in here.
I never deleted it because occasionally it appears in the episodes. Because
goats. That's it.
Yeah.
He's like, what was the thing that he says?
You've turned into a monster.
You made me this way.
Yeah.
Oh, there. I find that clip funny. I still have it. It's in my production files.
No, look, that is out of all the Sprint ads that Sprint has ever done in the last 5 years, that's the best one for me.
You've got Malcolm McDowell and James Earl Jones. You've got legends doing the voices.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
It's filed right next to the goat sounds from that episode 125.
Ew.
No, I'm saying like the farm animals because you and Dodd were swearing so much. I was trying to come up with a way of editing it without having beep 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 like Morse code. So I started putting farm animal sounds. I had like roosters and sheep, and then cows, and then I had that goat from that stupid YouTube video that went around this year or this last year, where it goes, "Ah!" Like the.
You've become old McDonald, dude.
Yeah. Well, you guys started the farm, so I just populated it with more animal sounds. Yeah, the Force Awakens is really the only thing left I got. Blu-ray and digital release dates announced.
Mm-hmm.
I find it funny it's going to be out digitally on April Fool's Day, which is also a Friday.
Yeah.
It's also the day AGU comes out.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
And
it'll be out
AGU?
before my birthday. I can ask my wife for it.
Blu-ray combo and DVD is April 5th.
Yes.
But digital is April 1st. Yeah.
I'm buying the Blu-ray. I don't care.
Oh yeah, so am I.
I want to believe that they won't do anything stupid with it because of the digital release. But can you imagine if they took the video? There was a video online somebody put together where it was right before the movie got released to theaters. It's like, watch the opening crawl, watch the opening scene. You watch it, you watch the opening crawl, and then it's nothing but Jar Jar death for like 2.5 minutes. I really hope they don't do something like that. I don't think they will, but it is April Fool's after all.
Yeah.
So what would be epic is if they had Luke and then they just like the one where he's just standing there after he's taking the cloak off, and then they played the I don't know if you guys remember E-Bomb's World or
Yep.
remember the llama song?
Yeah.
Oh god.
And
yes.
they just have the llama thing pop up as the backdrop, and then have Luke standing in front of it, and they just have the llama. I don't know. It's the first thing came into my head because I see that backdrop of like the hills and the mountains, and then I think the llama thing. So
Here's what I'm wondering is what I'm wondering with iTunes, and I know it's not iTunes' thing directly. It's the studios and whoever else want to do it, but they've had the Star Wars HD collection on iTunes forever now. I think HD is $100. Standard definition is like $89.99.
Yeah.
So if they eventually add Episode 7 to that, is that going to kick it up another $40?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, the thing to remember is if you want to get the current like complete collection of Star Wars, you're going to need to get it soon, only for the fact that Fox is going to lose the only movie that they totally own the rights to is the original Star Wars, the one that's A New Hope now. All of the rest of them are George Lucas.
Disney.
They're George Lucas material, which Disney owns. So that one film is the only one that Disney does not have complete control over.
They will eventually because they're releasing the original.
But Fox still owns the overall rights of that particular movie.
They make deals all the time.
Well, I'm not saying that they won't, but Fox will get a cut of it. Is what I'm getting at. Unless Disney don't want to play ball, and then Fox can stick it to them. But I'm guessing that at some point there's gonna be kind of not only a price increase because Disney loves to charge more for their discs, and put them in vaults and special editions and all this other crap. So I'm guessing Star Wars.
That's only with the animated stuff.
They do that with some of the other stuff too. It just depends. Because they'll come out with renovations of stuff. I mean, most of their movies don't, but being that Star Wars is a cash cow and we've already bought the movies like 5 times already in the last 10 years because Lucas was trying to cash out on us before he sold it. You never know. But like, I already have all 6 movies. I'm just waiting for this one. I don't have any intention of buying a complete collection because I got them all like separately.
Yeah. Since you mentioned Lucas, have you seen the several different articles pop up about
Han shot first?
About how he's pissed at how
somebody re-edited the movie.
Yeah. Somehow, George Lucas
they changed the original edit and made it upgraded it to high def special edition without changing where Han shot first.
See, I thought there was something out about how he was disgruntled about something with episode 7.
No, it wasn't. Well, 7, he just wasn't happy because they took his notes and said, "Yeah, that's great ideas," and threw it in the trash, and then did their own thing.
I mean,
so he was kind of like, he washed his hands of it after the film was getting underway because they just kind of said, "Yeah, you're no longer in control, George. Thanks for the notes."
Yeah, see, I mean, that's the thing. It's like...
But he's not in control, so it doesn't matter. He just own it.
Right, but here's my thing. Anytime I see a story or a little note or a little trending thing pop up about George Lucas being mad over Star Wars, anything, doesn't matter what it is. Dude, you have no right to be upset. You sold that stuff and you got paid.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
it falls back to that, complaining because you have the ability to.
People will listen because it's George Lucas.
Well, people hate him and love him anyway. It doesn't really matter. It's like the people that were pissed at him for doing the prequels, and then after episode 7, they're like, "Oh, bring him back to do episode 8."
That's the story.
It's just I don't know. It's retarded. People just it's one of those things where geeks just flip flop because it's fun to do. It's not necessarily that it's logical. It's how things kind of turn out.
You want to see something about that, just go watch The People versus George Lucas and be done with it. That's...
I'm surprised they haven't done a sequel to that yet.
I'm sure that they will. I'm sure that they will once the Indiana Jones 5 comes out.
I hope it never does.
It will, because that was the only way that Harrison Ford said he'd come back for Star Wars, is if they did a indie film. But it's funny because they made him do the Star Wars first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and he broke his leg doing that, so he's, hey, look.
Joey,
I don't know if I can be able to do it.
broke my hip.
Yeah.
The damn Falcon fell on me. J.J. Abrams broke his back trying to grab the door.
He actually did.
Seriously? I didn't know that one.
Yeah, he broke his back trying to lift the door, doing some like Hercules type crap, trying to pull the door off of Harrison Ford's foot.
Oh, Jesus.
So, that was fun for him. And I guess he didn't know he did it to begin with until he realized how bad his back hurt, and they made him go in. So,
it's funny, and I know we've talked about this before, but it's funny and it's interesting to see how far that guy has come. Because, way back when he created and developed Felicity for WB, and then he did Alias, and then he
did Lost.
I was gonna say he had something to do with Lost, and then he does Star Trek and Star Wars, and who knows? Maybe I doubt this. I'd almost welcome it, but I doubt it. Maybe he'll end up doing Transformers 7, 8, or 9.
Who are we kidding? Michael Bay is going to take a paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lies. He's like, "Oh, I'll do one more. I'll do one more. I'll do one more."
How much more can I wreck your 80s generation memory?
That's one of those complaining things, but I think that one's actually irrelevant because, look at the first G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles movie that have been in recent years.
Right.
They were terrible. You move on to the sequels, they fixed every problem that was with the first film and actually made it kind of pertinent to the original concepts that we're all familiar with. So we're like, excellent. I mean, I know Turtles 2 hasn't come out yet, but just everything I've seen in the trailer and everything I've read about it, it looks like it's going to stay true to like the kind of thing that us
the cartoon
80s fans are familiar with.
So Bebop and Rocksteady look good.
Bebop and Rocksteady look good. We got to see Krang. We got to see the Shredder. We got to see, Casey Jones. I mean, everything about that looks like what I wanted in the first film. Mm-hmm. So I have no problems with it. And, a lot of these reboots and a lot of these sequels, like a lot of them look really good. The only ones I have not looked forward to is every Transformers film since the first one.
Did you know about the story about what John M. Chu wants to eventually do?
Transformers in space?
He wants to have a crossover between Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Jem.
It wouldn't be that bad, but they're never going to let
Transformers touch it because they're planning on doing a cinematic universe with G.I. Joe, Mask, and something else that's along those lines.
Yeah,
Visionaries or something.
Something like that, I want to say. I don't remember exactly what it was, but my teacher, who's in the media, film industry, was kind of telling me some of this stuff that one of his friends was telling him. So, yeah, he was kind of bringing that up. I know that they're shooting Transformers 5 in Michigan.
Oh, yay.
Again, part of it.
Detroit. They're filming it in Detroit. Because...
Again. Which, that's like 45-minute drive for me.
Yeah.
Which my brother and I were both like, we should go.
It's Detroit. Do you really want to be there? My father used to live in, Flint and Ann Arbor, and
I'm from Flint, so
yeah, you know what it's like.
Yeah, well, if you're a resident, it's not scary because you already know what the crazy is.
Exactly.
But if you're not a resident, everything around scares you.
So it's kind of like that age old saying, except reversed. It's not a nice place to visit, and you wouldn't want to live here.
It's not that it's not a nice place to visit. It's the fact that the government's so corrupt they let it get run down to the point that it's not nice to visit, and then they like to poison us.
Yes. Don't drink the water.
I haven't drank the water in years, but that's because the water, when it comes out of the fountain, it would automatically like fog up, and.
Entire state of Michigan is quantum of boredom.
Oh God! Oh God! Right.
So the main premise of the second Craig Bond film, Quantum of Solace, is they're going to poison the water.
Our politicians did that to us, though.
Yeah,
they made it a irreversible law that they could swap our water, and we had no say in it. Like, granted, I don't live in Flint, so like I don't have Flint water. I have Detroit water, which comes from the lake, which Flint didn't want to pay because they're putting in a new pipeline directly to the lake, so we don't have to pay Detroit anymore. Which our water bills aren't going to change. It'll be the same as the Detroit water bill. It's just the only difference is it won't keep going up because that's why Flint changed in the first place. Is to save money. Well, the rest of the county decided we're going to pay for this pipeline, and Flint was like, we're going to switch to the Flint River, which is the running gag with that is yeah, if you want to be the three-eyed fish from The Simpsons, go right on ahead, because the water's disgusting and it's not. They had to pour so many chemicals to purify it that the chemicals they used ate away at the lead pipes underground and corroded them at 10 times faster the normal erosion rate, and then they pumped more chemicals in to try and fix the pipes after they switched back to Detroit water. Never mind that the automotive industry, like General Motors, knew that the water was crap after it switched, so they actually paid the township to have a pipeline put from the township directly into their plants because the Flint River water was, when they were using it for the cooling process on the metal, was rusting the metal on the vehicles. So they knew ahead of time too. They figured it out like right away, and we figured it out at the dealership right away too. But it just didn't become public notice until like the state got in trouble, and then all these celebrities are like, "Oh my goodness, it's a racial issue. It's this. It's because the politicians, and it's because of this." And it's like, dude, it's been an issue for 10 years, like all the stuff with the state, and then the thing with the water's been the last 3, but nobody's noticed because it didn't hit national news.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is when you said the lake keeps getting polluted and polluted and polluted is
it's the river.
The Simpsons.
Yeah.
No, The Simpsons.
Put a dome on it.
You did this. You did this, Homer. You screwed it up.
They need to put the dome over the city and just like, keep
there
it.
You go.
And then they'll put a monorail in, and then have Leonard Nimoy doing the voice of the monorail. And
well, I did read something about that, like city thing that goes around the city for Detroit. That they said it like takes 2 hours to go all the way around the city.
It's a monorail.
Yeah.
It's like a raggedy version of the one that's in Disney.
Yeah.
Because I've been on both. And then the Disney one's like, wow, this is smooth. You go to the one in Detroit, it's like clunk, 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 clunk. It's like when you drive on the roads of Michigan, there's potholes, even in the monorail.
Oh God.
So it's really fun.
You either have holes in the road or you have holes in the bottom of your car from all the salt rusting it out.
Yep.
Take your pick.
Yep, pretty much. I think the train has left the building.
Yes.
I think the monorail has gone off the track.
There's more news of Batman Superman popping up, but I'm gonna ignore that for right now. They've already figured out how Batman's beating the hell out of Superman. He's got like kryptonite gauntlets.
As if that wasn't obvious.
Yeah,
the one thing I will bring up about BVS is the Omaze campaign that they're doing,
where you get to ride in the Batmobile with Ben Affleck.
Mm-hmm.
I love all these Omaze campaigns, even though I know I'll never win when I contribute to try and win a ticket, because I did that for like the thing with Terminator. I did that thing with for Age of Ultron, and then this, and I was like, I want to ride in the Batmobile. And wear my $5 plastic Batman mask I got from the store. It's a kid mask.
Who knows? Maybe he's got a couple of extra cows in the back seat.
No, he's not allowed to. He had to sign a release form because he was on Jimmy Fallon's show. He said he had to sign a release form to take the bat suit. Like, he had to sign his life away for the suit to take it to his kid's birthday party.
Oh,
his kid wanted superheroes and wanted him dressed as Batman, along with the other Justice League members. So, like, the other Justice League members weren't there, but they had other people dressed up as him. But, yeah, he had to sign his life away. He says, they let me drive the car around, but they won't let me have the cowl.
Old Batfleck.
Yeah.
I love how, and I'm not trying to be negative when I say this, but I love how much of a 180 he's taken with his stance on superhero movies.
Yes.
Or were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, did you love the fact that he rewrote part of Batman v Superman on the set?
Yeah.
There were things of him going around while he was in the cowl. He was rewriting the film. Because it was
always little stuff like that
because it needed tweaking because it was bad. No,
I just hope, and like I said, I'm not going to bitch about this, but we've had 3 years or so of this online campaign about this movie. I just hope it doesn't suffer from rewrites, or because sometimes movies, and you get a final script and one of the actors or one of the whatever isn't happy with it, and then you have several different rewrites, or it's stuck in production hell, which obviously this movie wasn't stuck in production hell, but I just want it to be good. That's really all I want.
And that's what I'm so afraid of with this movie, that it's going to be another Man of Steel. I really want to like it. I really hope it's good. I'm just afraid of that it's going to be like, oh, this is a shitstorm.
I don't think it's going to be another Man of Steel. I think it's going to actually be good, which is probably why Affleck rewrote part of it.
Yeah.
Because
he did win an Oscar for writing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is because he's actually got the experience under his belt now, that he knows what it's going to take to make a good movie compared to just making a superhero movie.
Yeah.
So I think having him on Warner Brothers' side is an asset, because they can use him for the Batman film and the Justice League films, being that he's going to be in all of them. They'll have an Oscar winner's expertise in on this. So, and I love the fact that all the second chances, I found that meme floating around too, but of some of these characters, like Ben Affleck's been Daredevil, now he's Batman. You have Chris Evans, he was the Human Torch, now he's Captain America. You have whatever his name was, played Superman, and then he played the Atom.
Yeah.
Brendan Routh, yeah.
And then you get Ryan Reynolds playing Green Lantern, now he's Deadpool. And then their latest iteration of what their character is actually the best fit for who they should be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Ben was announced, I don't think I was the first that made the joke, but because he was Daredevil, you got to go with, well, I guess he's going to be blind as a bat.
Ouch. Ouch.
I remember reporting that on this episode that they were going to have him, like, on this show, but
Yeah.
as well as the first episode, the announcement of Batman v Superman, and then myself and Mike Powers managed to accurately portray what the Batmobile and the Batsuit were going to look like. Months and almost a year ahead of time of actually seeing any of it.
Yeah. The Batmobile looks like a combination of everything we've seen before.
It's a combination of the Tumblr, the 89, and then like some of the animated series, and then you get it all cobbled together into that.
I'm not sure that's a good thing, but we'll see.
He might have a new one next film because Superman rips the lid right off unless Batman's got extras laying around.
When doesn't Batman have extras laying around?
You never know.
Exactly.
Where's Morgan Freeman, Lucius Fox?
Exactly.
He's in the last trilogy.
Yeah.
So, I think that about rounds it out. Good conversation.
I think so. Absolutely.
So, anything you guys want to promote before we close it out?
Doug?
I'll throw out there for anybody who wants to go out and hear me over talking about my generation. I've got Mike. Steve's done an episode or two here and there, and we will have to have you guys back if you want to check us out. Go visit us at mygenerationpodcast.com.
Let's see. For me, the pull bag, we wrapped up Fiendship is Friendship February with the Pony Comics with Nicole and I. This month, we're going to have an Origins episode that I just recorded with a local radio personality that's here in Louisville. And then at the end of the month, Comic World Dan and I are going to be doing we're going to be talking about the DC Comics reboot, rebirth. So we're going to give you some information on that in the pull bag after dark. As always, geekcastradio.com. We've got almost 7 years worth of content. So,
as for myself, this week launched a new podcast, the Cyber Dragon Ball, which was based off of an old website I used to run when I was a wee little lad in middle school, and
back when GeoCities was a thing.
I know. What's funny is I still remember the website address. For that,
I don't think it'll work anymore.
They don't work.
GeoCities
they're
dead,
gone.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I remember the original address. If I punch it into archive.org, it'll still go there. It's geocities.com/super_Goku_gold/. And it would go to the Cyber Dragon Ball, which originally was it had a longer name than that. It was, and my parents were like, "Why do you have your name on there?" Because like I guess I was a trendsetter back then, because like I had my name plastered on my alias, which was Majin Phillips, because Majin Buu, Majin Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. So I had that, and then my friend at the time was Kilburn, so it was Majin Phillips and Bevy Kilburn's Dragon Ball Z GT website. And it later became the Cyber Dragon Ball. So rather than rebuilding it, I was like, "Hey, Mike Dodd, you want to do a podcast?" And he's like, "Hell yeah!" So so that's what happened, and so we had a nice 40-minute conversation on our experience with Dragon Ball Z, and we're going to kind of go through, instead of doing because seasons are not really a thing in Dragon Ball Z. They go by sagas, which change frequently. Because you might have a whole season where they change sagas like 3-4 times. It's really weird. But that's anime. So, we went through that and kind of explained that. And we're going to go over the movies at some point, and then Dragon Ball Super. Not going to cover Dragon Ball or GT, but anyways. That was kind of the plan with that show. So the other thing is I wrote a brief article in the first time in ages, which was the top 25 films of 2016 of what I said to see. And then next week I have my top 20 TV shows that I recommend that I enjoy. So with 3 honorable mentions, because I didn't want to change the art to 23. So yeah, that's what I got coming up. So how can the people get a hold of you guys?
Well, if you guys want to find me, I'm out on Twitter at SPRZOUT. at Spurzout. I know.
You can find me at TFG1Mike.
And I am at SCP21. So until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.